Today's students don't know who they are or where they've come from or why anything is important that they can't see on TikTok or Instagram. This is Dr. Gary Kellner, and I would like to welcome you to Fair Game, especially this week, as Americans celebrate the 250th anniversary of our Declaration of Independence. Seems like a good time to remember that history matters. It matters that 55 representatives of 13 largely sovereign states came together to frame a case statement for what they called independency. It matters that Thomas Jefferson, with some editorial help from John Adams and Ben Franklin, penned what may be the most important and elegant sentence in the English language. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among these, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It has become popular for the critics of those 55 men to point out that they did not include women, Native American, or enslaved people in that statement. Those are obvious and serious flaws. But that failure notwithstanding, there was nothing comparable to those words in the history of the world before or since. And there had never been so representative a body of people to come together to do the people's business. And yet with their flaws and their omissions, those words became an engine that has inspired generations of Americans and people around the world. What is it that inspires an 18-year-old kid to enlist in the United States Army and fight for his country? It's not the promise of wealth, because soldiers in this country never gained wealth from fighting. It wasn't property or land. It was a vision and a dream. History matters. And so do words and ideas. Words create meaning. They instruct us. They inspire us. And if history matters, then the people who make history matter as well. When I was in graduate school, it was the era in which social history reigned supreme. And our professors told us with that sort of moral certainty that one finds and hardly finds anywhere outside of a university classroom, that history is much more than names and dates, elections and wars. That's certainly true. It also is more than the number of pigs in Savannah, Georgia in 1831. It is more than property list. History is about the things people do that make a difference in their world. So it's in that context that I don't hesitate to say that George Washington matters. One cannot imagine another figure in the revolutionary generation prevailing against the British. Abraham Lincoln matters. And so does John Wilkes Booth. So does Dr. Martin Luther King. So does Jackie Robinson. Now, If history matters, then we must make certain that we teach it to our children. The historical ignorance of our children, and indeed of their teachers, is a national disgrace. Today's students don't know who they are, or where they've come from, or why anything is important that they can't see on TikTok or Instagram. Teaching history matters because we do more than teach kids names and dates and places. History is about meaning. My father was an 8th grade dropout. He may have actually been kicked out, but my grandmother would never confirm nor deny. He was also dyslexic. Worked in a factory most of his life with his 8th grade education. And yet, on holiday weekends like Memorial Day, the 4th of July, Labor Day, my father took me to Colonial Williamsburg and to Gettysburg before I entered the 1st grade. I believe my love for history was born scampering over the cannons on East Cemetery Hill in Gettysburg. Being on that hallowed ground gave my 5-year-old brain an inkling that something important happened here. Colonial Williamsburg was designed to be what we would now call an immersive experience, as the colonial town has been restored to look much the way it did in 1775. The reenactors who brought the colonial town alive gave me a deep and profound sense, to quote William Faulkner, that the past isn't past. It isn't even past. That in some vague but real sense, the past is with us. It shapes us. It defines us, for good and for ill. Through most of my childhood, the holidays and family vacations included excursions to the great sites in the original 13 colonies. Which is why the notion that history doesn't matter seems to me to be a logical absurdity. This is Dr. Gary Kellner. Thank you for joining us for Fair Game.